Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to be exploring the benefits of cannabinoids. So I have two very special guests with me today. I have Mr. Bob Wright. He is the president of the American Anti-Cancer Institute and also the International Wellness Research Center. And so share a little bit about how you were introduced to the benefits.
Well, I was first introduced to the benefits. I'll say this with a little smirk on my face. In the late 60s, when I was in Haight-Ashbury next to San Francisco, everybody knows what happened there. But it was an interesting time. But obviously, over the years, as we developed the American Anti-Cancer Institute first, we began working with people who had cancer, but now we've morphed into working with people who have all chronic illnesses. And we're always looking for products. We're looking for mostly natural products, therapies, or protocols that will actually help people. Sadly, our medical systems have failed us other than treating symptoms. And so we really needed to get out there and find out what worked for people. So it's led us to a few products, not a lot, because there are so many out there today and so many really don't help people. And so I'm always driven to find that one thing, that silver lining, you might say, in a field of products that is the best of the best. And in the final analysis, it's what it does for people that matters, not what it does for mice and rats or in the test tube. What does it do for people? And of course, we started working with the cannabinoids many years ago. And as you know, I wrote about it in the new edition of my book, the fourth edition. We created a whole new chapter in this book because people wanted to know what was going on with marijuana and this new thing called CBD. You know, people know about marijuana, they know about THC, they know about getting high by smoking it, but they knew little about CBD, cannabidiol, and what it does and what it doesn't do, of course, too. They didn't know about the endocannabinoid system. Of course, it's relatively new. And so they just had no knowledge or understanding. And I've always wanted to know, is this another thing, you know, that would really and truly help people without the high? And I say that because back in the late 60s, marijuana had a THC value from 3 to 5%. And now people are buying it on the street and other places, and it's up to 30%. And at that point, when people are smoking it, it damages their brains and their hearts and everything else. Of course, if it's medical marijuana and it's controlled, then it can be beneficial for people. I kind of like the non-high version of it, and that's the cannabidiol. So I began to study it. And of course, I met both of you in Atlanta when I was down doing an event down there. And we all discussed it. We learned more about it. And I've been studying it off and on ever since. But I included it then in the fourth edition of the book because it was that important. And I told people at that point what I recommended. And as far as a company goes, because today you can buy marijuana, CBD, you can buy it in the drugstore now, you can buy it in gummies. And I would never recommend those things, but it's ubiquitous. It's virtually everywhere. And so I had to figure out, you know, what am I going to recommend? And because people do listen to us because we've developed trust, and people know that we're more concerned about them than making money. We're concerned about what helps people. And so that drove me to study the different companies that were basically manufacturing this, you might say. And I got to Canaway and I go, oh my gosh, you know, they're the first. They were the first. They their products are triple lab tested. And this is important stuff, and people don't realize that. They want convenience instead of getting the best. And that bothers me at times, although I work with a lot of people that don't have a dime or a quarter, they just need help. And it becomes a problem at times, but I still have an obligation to recommend what is best. People always have the option to go and do what they want to do, because I never tell people what to do. I tell them what I would do. And what I would do is I'd go to Cannaway. They have the purest products, the certified products. And I can go on down the line and I ask everyone, go to my book, read chapter 6, and I'll give you all the reasons why I selected Cannaway. I wanted the best of the best. If I'm doing water, if I'm doing other kinds of supplements, food supplements, magnesium, minerals, and vitamins, I want the best of the best. And I'm disingenuous to a stage if I'm not recommending those things. And so that's what I found with Cannaway. I found the best of the best. And so I was obligated at that point to tell people about it. And CBD, I mean, it has so many qualities, so many things that help the human body, from homeostasis to one that we've really caught on to now, and that's promoting the growth and development of brain cells. We work with people with neurodegenerative diseases today, and oh my gosh, this is so important when our doctors can't find anything that works for Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. I'm working with a gentleman with Huntington's right now, and these things help. And they help everybody, which is the great thing. I'm working with a pastor now who has a small child in seizures. It's not epilepsy, but he's having seizures. So we need to do something about that. And so we search and we find things that help people, no matter what they have. And we found that CBD across the board is going to help everyone. We all have that endocannabinoid system, so it's going to help everyone. So we're delighted with that. We're delighted that we discovered it. We're delighted that we discovered Cannaway. Because folks, this is what you need. Again, I can't tell people what to do, but if I could, I would tell you, do this. And I think that that's what we should do when it comes to cannabidiol, CBD, and these types of products. And just go ahead and get yourself some and find out what it has the capacity to do for you. It's going to balance your body, your yin and your yang, and your homeostasis to begin with. You're going to sleep better. That's what I've discovered, and a whole array of other things. So I highly recommend that you take a look at this at a minimum, and I think you will like definitely what you see.
Thank you so much, Bob. And before we go any further, I do want to make sure everyone knows that we as Cannaway consultants are here to educate, but we do not claim that these products will heal or cure anything. It's our magical body that, whenever it is in balance, does wonderful things.
So much, Susan, and thank you, Bob. It's just a pleasure working with both of you. 6.5 years ago, when I was asked to come on board to help launch, Cannaway and get this message out there, I was like, what is CBD? Because 6.5 years ago, 7 years ago, as Bob mentioned, people were talking about THC and the benefits of marijuana, but nobody really knew about hemp and the benefits of CBD. I certainly didn't. And I've spent the last 25, 30 years in the health and wellness arena. I lost my mother, unfortunately, to breast cancer. She was only 59, 29 years ago, so I was pregnant with my daughter. I had a 3-year-old at the time. So I really wanted to know how I could raise my family in as healthy a way as possible. And hence then the journey in the health and wellness arena. Thank you, Bob, for everything that you do, because it is all about the preventive aspects and putting good things into our bodies and really understanding what makes our bodies work versus just going pharmaceutical routes. So anyway, it's been a lifelong journey. But when I was asked to come on board by the founders, Dr. Stuart Titus and our founders, about we need to bring this message to the world. We can't just go to trade shows, and because our company was the first to ever create, as we'll find out in some of these presentation today, the first to actually bring this to the marketplace. I knew nothing about it, but I was mad once I learned about why we need it. What is the endocannabinoid system? That this is a missing link, and I just felt compelled to share it around the world. And this company, Cannaway, gave us the opportunity, as a wholly owned subsidiary of Medical Marijuana Inc., the first publicly traded cannabis company in the United States, to actually do this. So a lot rested on my shoulders to really help the company get this out there. We are global in almost 50 countries. Laws are changing all over the world as a result of the impact that these products and beautiful cannabis plant has for everyone. And so it's been a journey, a wonderful journey, Susan, to be a part of this and to work with people like yourself and Mr. Wright to really bring this knowledge to the people, because knowledge is power. Like as Bob mentioned, we can't make anybody do anything, but we can guide, and that's what we do. This adds value. It's adding value all over the globe, and I'm just honored to be a part of it. So back over to you.
And thank you for introducing it to me, Valerie, and thank you, Bob, for coming to Atlanta for the it was an anti-cancer summit a little over 4 years ago, I believe, and I was going there as a participant, and that's when I reconnected with Valerie and learn from Bob. And, sometimes as fate would have it, that was the exact same time some of my family members had some life-changing situations happen that we had, I learned through the presentation might be of benefit. So I started getting products for my mom and my sister. And then I had another loved one who had some really, let's just call it really blue moods. And I saw a very big difference in a short period of time. And that's when I said, you know what, there's a whole lot of moms out there that, and children of all ages that are suffering, especially with what's going on right now. I don't know when you're watching this, but right now, we are coming out of a very, very dark time in our history. This global pandemic has scared the bejeeters out of all of us. And we can all have an elevated mood. And that's something that I saw right away. And that's when I said, I've got to share this with other people, because there's a lot of people out there that have lost their hope. And if we can help to elevate those moods and show that there are bright skies and rainbows and just ways to put a smile on our face and skip in our step, then why not? This is something that everybody on this planet needs, it, even our pets. So any mammal can benefit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to get through share some more information that's going to educate you a little bit more on the scientific reasons that you want to use cannabinoids. So today we're going to be exploring the benefits of cannabinoids, and our featured speakers are Valerie Aloisio. She is the founder of Hemp Lifestyle, and with Cannabinoid, she is what's called a Crowned Ambassador Elite and advisory board member, and she is from Fairfield, Connecticut. And that just means that she has been passionate about helping a lot of people for a long time. And then Bob Wright, as we introduced before, is the director and founder of the Cancer Institute and the International Wellness and Research Center, and he is from Everett, Washington. Aren't we glad we have the benefit of Zoom today instead of flying across the country? Because as you see, I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and go through a little bit on the history of hemp. So we have cannabis. So, we all have heard the word cannabis over the years, but what we need to look at today is the difference between the cannabis that we know of. So if you think of it, it's kind of like citrus, lemons, limes, oranges, they're all very different, but they're all in the citrus family. The same way with hemp and marijuana. So if you think of hemp and marijuana as far as what they look like, marijuana is short and bushy. It has high concentrations of THC, which is psychoactive. That's the one that's going to get you high. But it's really not grown for any type of industrial application. Hemp, on the other hand, is tall and lengthy, gets up to 20 feet tall, kind of looks like skinny bamboo to me, but it has high concentration of CBD, which is non-psychoactive. It has numerous practical applications, and you'll learn more about that later. And it's grown around the world mostly for the textiles and the fiber. So it's very good for our environment. They use it to help clean up soil. It's sustainable, renewable, carbon negative. So whenever we plant a crop, we're actually doing good for the earth instead of taking away. It's an excellent source of protein and omega-3s, and it's absolutely the best source for CBD. And there's over 50,000 uses, which that really blew me away, all the things that you could make hemp out of. I knew I had some really cool hemp shirts, but I had no idea that Henry Ford actually made a car and fueled it with hemp fuel. So the whole thing was made out of hemp. And that's something that just really, surprised me. And so a little bit on the history of hemp. So all the way back from 2737 BC, they've been using it for the fibers for the textiles. And actually in 1850, it was grown on most farms. Some of our forefathers had it as their staple crop. They were actually able to pay their taxes with this. And it had a wide range of legitimate treatments for many different ailments. It was in the U.S. Pharmacopoeia up until 1937, but with the passage of the Marijuana Tax Act that ended the role of cannabis as a medicine in the United States. Following this, cannabis, including hemp, became prohibitive throughout much of the world. And that just really makes me shake my head. It's like, if it'd been around and like 80 to 90% of all medications were derived from hemp, why on earth would we get rid of it? In 2012, that Cannaway and our group of companies became the first company to launch a commercial CBD product and sell it in the United States. Well, it's produced in Northern Europe, and we imported it and sold it in the United States. So Valerie, since you know Dr. Titus very well, would you share a little bit about Dr. Titus and his passion for Cannaway?
It was such a pleasure, 6.5 years ago, and I sat around, flew into San Diego and sat around the boardroom and met Dr. Titus, who is the world-renowned cannabis expert and founder of Cannaway. He was also the CEO of Medical Marijuana, Inc. Since its inception. And he actually attended his first medical cannabis symposium in 2006. That's when he learned about the US government patent that you see below that states cannabinoids as antioxidants and neuroprotectants. And that it was a very, very important patent. And he said at that point, I believe there's a way that we would be able to grow a hemp crop that would yield high levels of CBD. And that's what they set out to do. So it was his a brainstorm to really think about this. And then also, to be able to fight the fight and change the laws and lobby to have laws changed so that hemp could be taken off a Schedule I drug, listing. So for several years before we were even able to bring a product to market, they were fighting that fight. And it all takes one to do that. And we're so thrilled that he was the one to actually start the ball rolling, where many now have followed.
So now we're going to hear from Dr. Titus.
Now, in the early years before we started Cannaway, medical cannabis was gaining popularity, but it was generally thought that the health benefits could only be derived from THC in the marijuana plant, which of course is intoxicating and a controlled substance at the federal level. Our breakthrough came when we discovered that not only were there other compounds like CBD in the cannabis plant with significant health benefits that had no intoxicating properties and could be derived from hemp, a common crop in many parts of the world. CBD, or cannabidiol, is a cannabinoid derived from cannabis plants, particularly the hemp variety, that is becoming increasingly popular for its natural health benefits, and for good reason. Today, people across the globe take CBD daily to keep the body balanced and running optimally. CBD promotes homeostasis by positively influencing the body's own endocannabinoid system. This endocannabinoid system, found within all humans as well as in all mammalian creatures, is a regulatory network that is responsible for maintaining equilibrium among the many internal systems, all without our conscious awareness. This important system was initially discovered in 1988 by Drs. Alan Hallett and William Devane at St. Louis University Medical Center. That initial discovery has since fostered worldwide research into the endocannabinoid system and how plant cannabinoids like CBD can play a role in supporting your health. Today, we know that the endocannabinoid system constantly responds to environmental fluctuations that impact our normal balance by sending signals to other systems to mediate our body's reactions and keep us level. The endocannabinoid system sends and receives messages through its cannabinoid receptors found on cells throughout the body. CB1 receptors are widely expressed in the brain and spinal column of the central nervous system and are related more towards neurological function. Your CB2 receptors are widely expressed in the gut, the viscera, the internal organs of the body, and more related to immune function. These cannabinoid receptors are influenced by both endocannabinoids, which are cannabinoids that originate within the human body, and phytocannabinoids, which are plant-based cannabinoids like CBD and even CBG or cannabigerol, a cannabinoid that is currently derived from hemp and now becoming available in commercial quantities. When these cannabinoids, whether they originate from your body or come from cannabis, interact with the endocannabinoid system's cannabinoid receptors, they make the endocannabinoid system more sensitive and more active so that it can better regulate the body. In short, when you take CBD, CBG, and other cannabinoids regularly, you're augmenting your body's own endocannabinoids and helping ensure your cannabinoid system is given what it needs for peak performance each and every day. You may have already noticed certain natural effects of CBD, CBG, and other cannabinoids as you begin to incorporate them into your daily health routine. The results of a more well-operating endocannabinoid system often show in feeling better throughout the day, sleeping better at night, and greater functional performance overall. Using CBD and other cannabinoids is beneficial for anyone interested in maintaining health and promoting wellness.
Well, very, very interesting, as I know that we would all agree. And so, one of the first things that I had noticed when I got on these products was just what he said, more overall sense of well-being, more mental clarity, better focus, more energy, better sleep. These are all, sometimes people think of ancillary benefits versus some people taking CBD for maybe targeted issues per se, but it is really all these other benefits that just bring your overall health and well-being to another level. Bob, is there something that you would like to add to that?
Well, I think that CBD is a definite epigenetic product. And we talk about epigenetics all the time at the American Anti-Cancer Institute. And that's because too many of our medical leaders have a tendency to believe that the sicknesses and diseases we get are genetic instead of epigenetic. And that's largely not true. The epigenetic systems of the body are all those physiological functions that take place. Your genetics are your anatomy, your epigenetics are your physiology. And it makes sense to basically reestablish those systems when they begin to break down. They break down because of acidity and inflammation. And cannabidiol is just wonderful against inflammation. And so we have to do the things that make sense in reestablishing this epigenetic system. When we do that without making any claims whatsoever, because we don't have to make claims and no one should make claims, but by reestablishing the epigenetic system, we help to heal our immune system. And we all know that without making claims again, our immune system is the only thing that heals us of anything. It's a God-given system that when functioning properly will keep us well. And if we're not well, it will bring healing to us. So I include, and I think everyone should include cannabidiol in whatever form you like, because it comes in many different forms, including a salve that I've got some on my back right now. And we should incorporate these if we want to help reestablish our epigenetic systems and our endocannabinoid systems as well.
Thank you very much for that. So, Cannaway is the world's premier cannabis company. And yes, as Susan mentioned earlier, we are a cannabis company. We are talking about hemp-derived cannabinoids at this point, but we are the premier cannabis company globally. And our vision is hemp in every home. As you see here, hemp batteries, hemp biofuel, hempcrete. Hempcrete is stronger than concrete. It's antimicrobial, antifungal. It doesn't burn. Here you see, as Susan mentioned, like Henry Ford built a car out of hemp fibers. Well, now Tesla, Ford, others are starting to build door jambs and frames and parts of the car with hemp clothing. And of course, nutritional products such as hemp oil. So our mission is to share the science, products, and message of beneficial cannabis all over the world. We feel this is very important, as Bob mentioned earlier, that everyone has access to this God-given plant. And so we are a company of firsts. We're the first publicly traded cannabis company in the United States. We're the first company to launch a commercial CBD product, first to develop strict quality testing standards, a triple lab test. The first ever. It was the wild, wild west. Nobody was testing. And so we started that. We set those standards. We were the first and only company to address the United Nations and the World Health Organization, and recently the FDA, on cannabinoids like CBG, CBN, CBD, and many others to come. And this is an impressive timeline, as you will see, since 2009, when we became the first publicly traded cannabis company. You'll see there'll be several years after that we fought the fight to make this a legal product. And then, of course, our timeline of opening up other countries, Mexico, Paraguay, Brazil, again, addressing the United Nations. The first company to actually bring CBD products into Europe, and not just one country in Europe, but open up the entire EU region. And then we moved on and we opened up Japan, and we were the first company ever to bring CBD into the Asian countries, starting with Japan. Now we have Hong Kong and China that's opening up. Russia, Kazakhstan, and then, the list goes on. Mexico, we just launched with our products, and that will be the hub for Latin America region. We just launched South Africa, which a big, huge industry for us, because there are many, many people that, again, all over the world that want these benefits. So very impressive timeline to where we are today, and there will be more to come. And then, of course, give Bob the confidence, of course, as he researched our company, was that he wanted the best of the best. And, it's not just him saying that or me saying that. It's look at the awards that we've won all over the world. Best in business, best in class, top product. The list goes on and on. This is just a few from a few years ago. We've won more these last few years. So again, if you want, you're putting something in your body, you want to make sure it's pure and good, but you also want to make sure where it's coming from and the company behind it. And it's all about our soil to sale promise to each and every one of our customers for quality and excellence. Again, triple lab tested, we leave nothing to chance, the first to institute this and lead the way. US and EU, and actually now Japan, Hemp Authority certified. Very exciting. Also, the Banned Substance Control Group has recently endorsed our products. And as Susan mentioned earlier, the one and only product listed in the prescriber's digital reference. This is a very big plus, because many medical professionals will turn to that journal to see how to treat certain situations, and to have us listed there, it's quite an honor. Now I'm going to cue up this video that will now show a little bit about our processes and how we create our product.
You have to trust the source. We were the company that came out and developed CBD. We launched CBD to the world. We've been at this for over 9 years at this point, developing CBD, making sure our process is all in line and that we're delivering a great product to the market. There's so many things that can be done here. And so we're just at the very beginning of our journey.
In the U.S., we have a lot of progressive marijuana growers who really have modified their marijuana plant to grow a higher concentration CBD. But nonetheless, of course, you have concerns because the high concentration of THC, and then if you have to remove this takes a lot of solvents and processing, etc.
It's not all about just throwing some seeds in the ground and hoping you come up with a high CBD concentration crop and then being able to deliver a product. This was a process that took years and years and years to develop.
Our partners here have been growing hemp for decades, if not generations, and certainly this gives us great comfort and confidence to know that the crop that's going to come up on an annual basis is going to have wonderful characteristics that are going to be well utilized by people to improve their levels of health and wellness.
Cannaway is leading the way and continues to lead the way. Oftentimes people tell me, Blake, why don't you flavor up your CBD so it tastes good? So it's a sugary mix, whatever. That's not us. We want to give you the most raw, unadulterated product to your doorstep because we believe that's the best. Our company sells the green and gold formulations that make up almost all of the Cannaway product line. They're the most efficacious, they're the original, and we're the only ones in the market selling.
Green, the raw juice, the raw extract from the hemp plant itself. CBD in an acid form, CBDA, cannabidiolic acid, decarboxylated, and then we do an additional step. This is a thin film, white film distillation process, removes a little bit more of the plant material, concentrates the CBD to 24%, and produces a nice golden honey color versus our dark color paste.
These plants will actually be cut down in about a week, and then they'll be dried and then taken to the extraction facility. And they're going to be tested right there as soon as the extraction is done. Then they're going to be sent to the US, and it's going to be tested again for content. And when the final products are done, it'll be tested one more time. It's what we call triple lab testing. In the cannabis industry, you can find all kinds of products, and who knows what you're actually taking, right? So we want to make sure when we're delivering a product to you, exactly what's on the label is what's delivered to your doorstep so you can take the product with confidence and then experience the great benefits. Stuart's really a pioneer in the cannabis industry. There may well not be CBD in this country if it weren't for Stuart Titus, or in the world for that matter. Stuart, along with their group of researchers, figured out what was legal, figured out what wasn't legal, and then, figuring out how to extract it, figuring out how to legally get it to our country, figuring out how to legally market in the state of California, and then figuring out how to legally market in our entire country. Stu really is a pioneer in this business and has changed lives all over the world. We legalized the market in the United States. We legalized the market in Brazil. We legalized the market in Mexico. We're breaking down barriers all around the world and educating people about cannabis and CBD and why you need it. We are the cannabis company. We will continue to lead the forefront in delivering amazing products, doing the research about CBD, making a big difference in the world. Cannaway will continue to lead the way, not only in CBD, but developing the cannabis market overall.
So I'm very proud of what we've accomplished to date. We have a lot more to do. I know, being on the advisory board, we have many innovative products coming, more markets to open globally. So Susan, over to you to talk about the products for today.
So as Bob said earlier, we have so many different products to choose from, and it just really depends on your health goals and also your budget. What I want to do, point out a couple of things that I think are just totally different from anything else out on the market. So our Cannaway products, our oral applicators are certainly in a league of their own. As I talked about in the video, we have our gold oral applicator that has 3,600 milligrams of CBD in it. This is a paste that it is like the juices of the plant put in a paste form. Now, I just put mine right in my mouth, but you can put it in capsules if you prefer. And then we also have the green oral applicator. It has more of an earthy or plant taste, but there's 1,500 milligrams of that in that particular applicator. And this is truly what sets us apart from other companies that are out there. The next is our one and only product that if you go to the doctor and say, Dr. Bob, what is all this fuss about CBD? What do you know about it? And they looked it up in their, now it's called Prescriber's Digital Reference. It used to be the Physician's Desk Reference. That bottle of the pure gold oil is the only thing in there. And that is a huge deal when there's thousands of companies out there making product. The fact that we are in there means that we pass the mustard for every test out there. We also have it in our 1 ounce, 250 milligram form. I tell people that's your, throw it in your purse, your travel size. And then we also have it in the gel caps as well. These are two of my family's favorite new products. The CBG Cannabinol, I call it our good morning oil, and that is 1,000 milligrams. And this is to help support your mood, but it's also beneficial for so many different ways. I've seen recently a lot of research on how it helps with your vision, with your eyes. Also, then we have the pure Cbn Cannabinol. This is the most sedative of any cannabinoid out there, even more so than THC, but yet there's no THC in either of these products. Both of these are amazing products. If you have issues with sleeping or with ill moods, you definitely want to do I call it the dynamic duo. Oh, this is one of my favorite parts of being a part of Kannaway. We have a foundation, it's called Pour Grace, where every single month we encourage our entrepreneurs to make a donation. When we place our order, we add a little something extra for Pour Grace. And what this does is it helps to fund cannabinoids, CBD, for these families that anywhere around the world that they are in need. Maybe their families, their loved ones' life depends on it and they can't afford it. And so we provide products, over $2 million in products so far for these families around the world. And it's also where our research is held. So if you go to this website, the pourgrace.org website, you can find over 25,000 research articles where CBD and cannabinoids are beneficial for a variety of different conditions. But as Bob said earlier, you don't need to be taking this for a specific condition. You want to take it for overall well-being. So you may be wondering, well, okay, after I do all my research, what do I do now? Well, get with the person that invited you to watch the presentation, or you're welcome to contact any of us, and we'll get your questions answered and help point you in the right direction. Thank you so much, and please be in touch.